gotta be. Anyway, today's topic is Fernando's baby. You know, his degree is in molecular biology, so he loves cells, he loves DNA, and he loves the genetic code. So today, he's gonna be doing the Bible and genetics. Some of you have touched on this last year, a little bit on the topic. He's gonna take that DNA or that topic and go a little bit deeper today. So, you may have questions. There may be something that you may not agree with. And not everything is 100% truth or 100% not truth. He's in research, and that's what he does, and that's what he does best, and he loves this topic. So he just wants to make sure that you are, if you have any questions about it, get together with him, and he will love to talk it over with you. He will talk Bible all hours of the day. That's German. So I just wanted to make that open for you, and we hope that you're really blessed by today's presentation. Psalms 42:4-5. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in thy works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very, very deep. And I added a word. They're very, very deep. This picture was painted by Diane McAllister. We just had to put it up because it was so beautiful. And, this is really beautiful. And when it shows a lot of God's works. And it's in her hands. So on that note, I'm going to pass this over to Fernando and let him get started. Okay.
So we are the children of God. So we can as well read here, for thou, Diane, has made me glad through thy work.
Yes.
So we are the children of God, and we have the power of God, and we are the owners of all that God owns. So isn't that amazing? This is the World and Science. It's the part number 10, thanks to you. And this is the Bible and genetics. This is what I love the most of research. So let's start with some introduction. And let's remember that God at the beginning gave dominion to man over everything that God created. And we can see, welcome Norma. Norma is here, our great neighbor. So please come in. And if you want to sit right here in front, come in, Norma. Yes.
Wow.
Thank you, Norma. Come in here.
Sorry.
No problem.
Hi.
So, very nice to see you. So we are just starting, and this is the introduction. So look, the beautiful organisms that God created. And even today, after the fall of the man, we still, with training, are able to domesticate wild animals to do what we want. Like this falcon. If you go to the Renaissance Festival, you will see them flying. Or even this eagle. So the reason of all biological wonder is the genetic code formed by God. And this is beautiful. You may ask, do we have in the Bible the appearance of the genetic code? And the answer is yes. And King David, he said this thing, in thy book all my members were written. When you see the whole context, you will see that he's talking about that very minute genetic code that was inside his body, that we know it as the human genome. So King David is saying, in thy book, all my members were written. And that's exactly what the genome has. The information for the color of your eyes, for the appearance of your body, the color of your skin, so right here. And this is just one geometrical representation of one of my publications, of one of my articles, where you can see the genetic code in its beauty, how perfectly symmetrical and mathematical is in balance. So it's awesome. I won't go into details, but we can see that especially two believers in God did a wonderful research and contribution towards the understanding of the truth, what God created. And one of them is Louis Pasteur. He said, the more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of the Creator. Into his tiniest creatures, God has placed extraordinary properties. He was a believer, and we know him, according to this writer, as the founder of modern medicine. because of him, all the antiseptics and all the vaccines took a serious rooting into medicine, the cleanliness of the doctors. And the other believer that did a great contribution to science is Gregor Mendel. And he said at the end of his article, species are fixed with limits beyond which they cannot change. And we know him as the founder of genetics. Even in his whole life, he was ignored, but after he was dead, the researchers took seriously his research and they say he was working with the truth. And I think that he also was the founder of statistics because his research took 7 years. And he did a very careful analysis that we're going to see a little later. So the way I interpret what Mendel said is by each kind, as the Bible defines them, as being an orbit. So here in each dog you can put all the breeds of dogs, and even more as you're going to see. But according to the Bible, this orbit cannot go out of orbit, so to speak, to transform into a totally different organism. The dogs, no matter how many millions of years, cannot be transformed. For example, what kind of animal you can think is related, like into a dragon or something like that, to a dragon or something. No, they will be always dogs. The same the finches and the same humans. And this is another of the illustrations of one of my peer-reviewed articles that I thank God that we still have the opportunity as believers to publish. And here, if we remember Genesis 1, we remember how it starts. In the beginning, God created. So it was Louis Pasteur, the one that demonstrated with an experiment that life only originates from life. At that time, they were expressing the idea of the primordial soup, that the atoms by themselves organize without any external or powerful influence, any external life, in this case God. And he, the good research of Louis Pasteur, demonstrated that spontaneous generation, as the evolutionists were saying that everything originated, is false. And if this spontaneous generation, according to evolution, is an event that is necessary for the myth or fantasy of the Darwinian evolution for the origin of life. With Pasteur's demonstration, he founded the whole field of microbiology. So he not only is known as the father of the modern medicine, with all the cleanliness to prevent microbes, but also he founded the whole field of microbiology. Starting with his discovery of bacteria decomposing the chicken broth. At that time they say, okay, we're going to pay some buckets to whoever researcher discovers or demonstrates that there is no spontaneous generation. So he is the one that won the prize because he had 2 flasks and he put chicken broth in both flasks. But one of them, he left it open, so in few days it was totally contaminated. And the other, even when he allowed the flow of oxygen, the bacteria got trapped right here. So it's still clean until today in the Pasteur Institute. In that way he demonstrated it's something that we cannot see that falls into the broth that contaminates. And right there he demonstrated that it was life falling there that was contaminating the broth. Because until his time they were thinking that spontaneously life originated from here, from the broth. And he demonstrated if today we don't have a spontaneous generation, no matter how many millions of years you want to add, it was not possible in the past either. But whenever we do research, I want us to think from the point of view of humans. Mankind. And kind is the word that the Bible uses. Is the Hebrew min, M-I-N. And we're going to see exactly what conveys this word. Scientists call humans Homo sapiens. And who will dare to classify each one of them as different species? Nobody. Saying, oh, these ones are a different species and these ones, no. So all of them belong to the same in one species. That is Homo sapiens, the humans. But whenever you find other living organisms that are less known, that plants or animals, you need always to remember from the point of view of mankind, what is the compatibility. So this is the content of this presentation: genetics and nature, genetics and humans, genetics of sterile hybrids and of Australopithecus, and the genetics of Jesus Christ. So this is original research, the 2, 3, and 4, and this is more or less known by all the scientists that at the same time they believe in God. So genetics and nature, plants and animals is what we're going to see first. Look at this beautiful, beautiful set of animals. And we start with Genesis 1:11, where we have the first use of the word kind, which in Hebrew is min. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its what? Kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth, and it was so. This happened in the day number 3. So God just gave the order, let the earth bring forth, and the earth produced. God organized the atoms from the earth to produce all the plants. But the important terminology is kind. And we are going to see the definition of kind with what we know. Because no scientist today is going beyond what the Bible says that is kind. As a matter of fact, the way that scientists have classified the organisms is very, very, very mistaken and very wrong. And we're going to see why. For example, here, God bless you. Yes. We have here a plant that is compatible in 4 different regions. It's called Dromocales. These are the flowers that the plant produces. However, the scientists have classified the same plant just with small variations as if it belonged to 4 different species. Again, whenever you see other organisms, always think from the point of view of humans, mankind. This is as if they were classifying the Asians as a different species from the Africans, as a different species from the brown men and the Caucasians. But apparently in science, nobody cares. They say whatever, that's okay. At least we can recognize all over the world which one is this because of the common name. And as a matter of fact, that is good because the Chinese can speak of the same plant by the name, even if the classification is totally mistaken. Because they are classifying as if they were using the terminology of the Bible 4 different kinds, when in reality are only 4 different varieties of the same kind. You can see the importance of that. So what is variation? It's a change within the boundary of compatibility producing a fertile offspring. This is the simple definition. So what is the kind according to this definition? It's a group of organisms that no matter how different they could seem, they are able to produce a fertile offspring. That's the definition of mean or kind according to what we understand from science. Unfortunately, the scientists get totally illogical, and we're going to see who originated this mess in science. Let's see, for example, this. Contrary to the clear and simple kind of the Bible that we just saw, Charles Darwin left a rampant confusion in biology to this day. Today you hear evolution and you don't even understand what they are talking about. Are they talking about the transformation of the false transformation of apes into humans? Or are they just talking about the variation within a group? They are totally confused about that, and they don't care. Who? Because their father, like a child of the Antichrist, he developed as a philosophy and as a way of thinking the idea of being confused and leaving the confusion like that. Let's read what he wrote. Nor shall I here discuss the various definitions which have been given of the term species. He said, look how ridiculous this is. He says, I'm not going to discuss the definitions of species, even when his book has the title on the origin of species. It's like, what? Your title of the book, you are not even going to discuss it? What's up with you? And everybody bought what he said. And then it continues. No one definition has as yet satisfied all naturalists. Because of course he didn't, wanted, and never went to the ancient documents of the Bible as point of reference. As a matter of fact, he said, that is excluded. Only what we can see now, and we can try to figure out with our 5 senses. That was his game. Yet, every naturalist knows vaguely what he means where he speaks of a species. Do you think that is science? To know vaguely something? And that he don't want to discuss even the term that appears in the title of his book? what kind of man was this? What kind of spirit was inspiring him? And how everybody that don't wanted to do anything with God bought his